start with this meeting. So I would just provide a friendly reminder whenever you are speaking, please say your name before moving forward with that. And then if you have a question or comment, please raise your hand, and so that way we can also support our interpreters in the meeting. So first, I'd like to thank SB for volunteering to be the co-host today, or the co-lead today. And so with that being said, SB, I will pass it on to you now.
Again, thank you. And yes, welcome to our meeting, and hopefully everyone is in a cool environment because it's been quite toasty. So I think in terms of the agenda, everyone should have received it. And then so we're going to move ahead with that because like Juan Luis said, we have quite a few items on the agenda. So so we'll go ahead. I don't know if you needed to do any additional introductions or not, because I think for the most part, maybe like if Maria would want to introduce herself in terms of additional persons that are on our committee today.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Maria Mendez with Stockton Unified School District. I'm one of the trustees on the board. I represent Area 5, which is on Box Trucks community section, which is off of Fresno Avenue.
Thank you and welcome. And so that, you know, in terms of welcome you to our subcommittee for the Stockton outreach. And so we're going to go ahead and then Juan Luis is going to review the action items that we had from our last meeting.
Thank you, SB. Before I move on to that item, I would like to have Stephanie provide some really exciting news to the group. And then after she's done with that, I'll be happy to go over those action items with the group.
Awesome, thanks. This is Stephanie, and I just have a quick update, and Heather, feel free to pop in because I know your team just worked really hard on a press release, but I just wanted to share that at yesterday's district governing board meeting, our governing board did approve the Stockton AB 617 car share program. And so this is going to be leveraging existing funds with the San Joaquin County, which it was awarded to the San Joaquin Housing Authority to implement a new car share program in the community. And so I'll just kind of share some quick details that this funding will be used to purchase 9 electric vehicles and 13 EV charging stations to be placed at affordable housing sites in our Stockton AB 617 area. So we're super excited about that. And we'll definitely keep kind of this subcommittee and the rest of our CSC updated as to progress on this project. And such big thanks to SB who did come to our meeting, our governing board meeting, to share kind of support of this program. And it was really great hearing your public comment at yesterday's meeting, SB.
Yeah, we had a lot of support. It was fantastic.
And I'll pass it back to you, Juan Luis, unless there are any questions from the group.
This is Heather. Real quick, I'm going to drop, if you check your email, we sent it to all of you, the press release that Steph was talking about, but I'm also going to drop a link in into the chat too. So you have it. You should have a copy of it.
And this is Juan Luis again. Thank you, Stephanie and Heather. Appreciate that information. So I think we're good to move forward with the next item on the agenda, which is the review of the action items. Is everybody able to see my screen right now?
Can you zoom in just a little bit, Juan Luis?
Absolutely. How's that? That good? Okay, perfect. So let's begin with the first one.
Can you do it a little bit bigger?
Absolutely. How's that?
That's a little bit up, a little more up.
That good?
Why can you make it a little bigger? Get the screen to the end so I can see it, because I can't see too good. I'm blind. I'm legally blind, so I can't really see that. Get the screen toward to the end. Get the screen to the end. Oh, let me feel that. Okay. Okay, large it up a little bit. Large it up a little bit. More. There. Okay, good. And then go down. Yeah, I see it now. Thank you.
Absolutely, not a problem at all. So yeah, okay, so let's begin with the first one. So this is just a couple of items from the previous meeting. The first one is Valley Air District to follow up with Mary Elizabeth on question regarding the Modesto B article. We did follow up with Mary Elizabeth. So that one's complete. The next one is SP to share community event opportunities for in-person outreach. There is one called Powell event and also the Summer of Love event. She's already provided information for those events, and so those will be added to the events tracker. And then the next one is updating the interest form. There was a suggestion from one of the subcommittee members to add additional comments column to the form. That one's already been completed as well. The following is Valley Air District to coordinate to deliver boundary map to Jonathan for a July 22nd outreach event. That was already completed, and also our team was able to get that boundary map to the Modesto office. So that one's good to go as well. The following is Jonathan will work with district staff to develop a step-by-step guide to assist members who are participating at a community outreach events. That's still in progress. Jonathan will continue working with us so we can deliver and develop that step-by-step guide. And then the last one is Jonathan to connect with the Stockton Unified School District to coordinate sharing of materials via Peach Yard, and then also SP to check with the County Office of Education for any additional outreach opportunities there or information sharing opportunities there. So those two last ones are still in progress. And so that completes the review of action items from previous meeting. I will like to open it up and see if there's any questions about any of these items. Okay, I see Douglas' hand up.
Yeah, I was wondering what community event has already been here and started a powwow event, because I usually go there a lot, and the Summer of Love. If they have it coming, or it's already happened. Epe?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Douglas. And so the powwow event is coming, as well as the Summer of Love. And SPP, feel free to jump in if you have any specific say on that. I do have for the powwow event. I understand that's next month.
Yes, so the powwow event is taking place the holiday weekend, and we have a table. So and what we'll do is we'll set up a schedule. So if anybody wants to help participate in the outreach component, I'll be sending that out. And so then that's what we'll be doing as far as like the outreaches. We're gonna we've been provided a table to be able to outreach during the event. And then for the Summer of Love, there's been actually a couple of events that have already taken place. And I don't know if you could pull up that flyer that I had sent previously, Juan, that has the Summer of Love, the different dates.
Yeah, I have it via text, but the next events they have is for August 31st. And that's going to be at Panela Park. And then the last one is on September 14, Kennedy Elementary.
Yeah, so the Kennedy one is outside of the 8617 boundaries. So the other one that we had with Stribley, that's the one that was within the boundary. So so those were the events that we had been notified about that we could participate in, and then potentially outreach to AB 617 residents. So that's where we were at with those. And the powwow is, like you said, that's like a bigger event. So in terms of, being invited so that we can outreach, because again, that's not specifically in the region, but there will be attendees potentially from AB 617 residents. So that's where we're at with those events. And if there are any other ones, of course, that's why, we're having these meetings so we can share, what events potentially are in the AB 617 region, or events that we can have folks that might be attending, it's in the greater Stockton. It's not as though they just only attend events in their own region.
Thanks, SB. And I see Douglas has a question, so go ahead, Douglas.
You know what? I didn't finish my comment regarding the pre-deal meeting because I was pretty much not finished with my comment. I was wondering I have not received any flyer, okay, we can look at it. So I don't understand how, you're saying it's a local event, but there's some other, are you going out to other regional outside the 6-7 subcommittee, or are you doing inside with all the committee event going in the area, the boundary of the 617? That's my question, and I'm done. Thank you.
This is SB again, and we are doing both. What we're trying to do is try to events that are within the area, and then bigger, larger events where all the community members will be at, because obviously the residents from the AB 617 region could also potentially be present, like at the powwow. So to answer your question, we're trying to do both and encompass all of it to try to reach out to our residents.
Awesome. Thank you both. This is Juan Luis again. Thank you, Douglas, for the questions, and thank you, SP, for providing some insight on those. So I guess with that being said, if there's no additional questions on action items, we're good to move on to our next item in the agenda. So SP, I would like to pass it on to you so you can provide a little bit more information on the following agenda item, which relates to the update on mini grant program proposal.
Okay, this is SB again, and with the framework of what we've been doing with regarding like the mini grant is primarily to focus in on what we just spoke about, like the events where we can reach, that audience, the residents within the boundary lines, and then potential events also outside the boundary lines where we can have, the residents that may be in attendance. So that's what we're focusing in on for the mini grant component. And as far as the framework for that, I'll be working with Jonathan to do a step-by-step guide and maybe like a checklist of some of the things needed in order to participate and then, want to head up one of those mini grants and events. And then we'll continue to move forward with that in terms of the step-by-step guide. We're also working on some, potential tools that we can utilize more for interaction with the residents. And we'll have an update about that, as we develop that, because we're just, trying to look and see what it is that, EJCW has done in the past with our larger campaigns, and then how we can implement that possibly with the AB 617 in-person outreach. So that's where we're at with that, because we want to make sure that, we flesh out any kind of nuances, and then we can bring that forth to the committee. And then I don't know, Jonathan, if you wanted to add anything as far as where the step-by-step guide is in correlation to the outreach.
I think we're going to have to, this is Jonathan Pruitt. I think we are probably going to have to develop a central document for everyone to use. It probably is going to have to be a Google document, just because just to keep things uniform, just because I've been sharing out specific outreach materials to people just one-on-ones through calls, and I think just to make sure that we keep it consistent, it is going to have to take an actual document on that end.
This is Heather. We did some brainstorming collectively and with SB, and then we do want to explore to your point, we definitely probably realize it'll be Google Doc based or centrally located potentially, but then in the same vein, I don't know if you caught that part of the conversation, Steph. We talked about maybe exploring social pinpoint as a way to sort of wrap in collection of information and work from the same map and drop in some layers and things. So I imagine it'll be a combination of both, a Google Doc that probably says, these are the questions you ask, or, this is the way the conversation goes, and then an actual social pinpoint, and maybe we start working on identifying like iPads and things to give to y'all to take out to events. But with the potential of having an intentful conversation with a person one-on-one, and maybe even pulling up a map of Stockton and talking about resources, maybe even getting to that level potentially. So yes, Jonathan, totally agree. SB, I think you probably agree with that and feel like maybe that's the direction we're headed.
Yeah, I think, again, this is SB. I think that it'll be helpful because that way, as folks either want to engage in events that we're already going to be at, any of the organizations, and that way it's more uniform in collecting the information we need and giving the information out to the residents as well. So I think that way we have, we're all on the same page and we don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. So, both for the Google Doc, the in-person, handouts that we have that have been already created by the district, as well as utilizing an online tool, which we can utilize, like you said, either through an iPad or iPhone or what have you, as we go forward with that. I also have Chromebooks that I have used for some data collection when we work with the universities. So if we're at an event and we need to do that, I can, most definitely, check those out to other folks if they don't have that available. But I do have, I think I have about 8 of them, of the Chromebooks that we utilized.
This one, Luis, I see Douglas hand up.
Yeah, MC, can you give me the date? Can I volunteer at the booth at the powwow if you get a chance, so I can help you with it okay, so I go there a lot. I just might want to be more active and proactive over there too as well. Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is SB. Thank you. And yes, so what we could do is we'll follow up so we can make sure to get we have everyone's contact info, and then we can set some times up so that way people can sign up for what is the best time for them to volunteer and help out for that event. That would be great. Thank you.
This is Heather. Douglas, I did find the flyer that SB was talking about. If you wanted to look up the Summer of Love stuff, it's in the chat.
Douglas, we can email it to you after the meeting as well.
We'll send you an email.
Thank you, everyone. So this is Juan Luis again. Speaking of community events, the following item in the agenda is exactly that, updates on community event opportunities. And so I know 2 of those events were already mentioned, which is the powwow and then the Summer of Love event. I actually located those as well, but since we're going to follow up with those 2, we're going to send those via email to the group, and whoever's interested, please let us know.
Oh, I almost forgot. I'm sorry. If we go back to one, go ahead and finish and I'll start. I forgot something from September will be it'll be a Pride Month for the LGBT community. They'll be having it I believe on September 6th or 3rd. Don't quote me, but it'll be next month, September. I know for sure there'll be a LGBT Pride Month for that particular in Stockton. Well, we had it late last time. We had it in August, but we kind of delayed it. So I know that'll be in September. So that'd be a good way for Jonathan and Effort to follow up with that also. So that'd be a large group there as far in Yosemite Street. Thank you.
This is Stephanie. Douglas, can I ask, I'm not super familiar with that location. Do you know, can you share a little bit more about where it's located?
Yeah, it's on Acacia and Yosemite.
Okay.
So it's almost toward, you go past the Victory Park, keep going straight to on Acacia, and I think about 4 blocks it's on Yosemite. Turn right, it's right there. The Price Center is right there, and they're gonna have it right there. They have an event going to be there on September. I believe it's going to be on the 13th. I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that, but I know that they already had posted on their Facebook timing as well. Okay.
Thanks, Douglas. We can add that to our list of events, and we'll reach out to you if we have questions about which event that you can.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the interruption. It just kind of, I almost forgot about it before I came in. Okay, thank you.
No, that's a great idea. Thanks for adding that.
This is SB. The other thing that we had participated in was the like a farmer's market that they have set up. That's also with the AB 617 area near Victory Park, which is what the area that Douglas was talking about, which is the Yosemite Street area. They also have that that market set up, and so then there's an opportunity also to engage. And I don't know if we had added this before, like with regards to the Stockton flea market, because for our other campaigns, we're able to engage there as well.
Thank you, SB. I know there's a lot of other members that have been very active participating at different community events, because I've been there with some of them. So I'd like to invite them to share if they have any additional information about upcoming community events, or maybe just providing some type of updates on some of those events that they have attended in the past, and see if there's any good practices that maybe they can share with the rest of the group.
Go for it, Jonathan.
Yeah, this is Jonathan. I'm just happened to look at my old emails, and there is a organization called STAND. It's an acronym, and they do monthly farmers markets over in front of their office on 1209 East 8th Street. And that is within the boundary. And so I think that could be an opportunity to connect with them. So I'll send an email right now to discuss the specifics.
This one, Liz. Thank you, Jonathan. That's good.
And maybe this is SB. Juan, maybe we can also, because like Jonathan was looking for in his emails, if we can put that down so that if folks do have additional community events, and we can send that in as a reminder, and kind of like on the top of the follow-up email that you all send out. I think that would be helpful for us, because since everyone is busy, and then you kind of like, we have the meeting, and then as we move forward, it'll just be a reminder so that people can always just, give feedback on that information, and then we can see who can cover, any particular event.
Thank you, SB. And this is Juan Luis. Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. And then we'll make sure to include all of that information in the follow-up email.
This is SB. So Jonathan went ahead and put that into the chat. Thank you, Jonathan, for that. And then Juan Luis, did you want to go on to the next agenda item?
I think that should be fine unless anybody has any additional comments about community events or, and I see Jonathan hands up. Go for it, Jonathan.
Yeah, this is Jonathan. Leonard, when are we going to be able to speak at your guys's NAACP monthly meetings?
Okay, for which event? For NAACP?
Yeah, just sharing AB 617 resources.
I wasn't aware that you wanted to speak there. I can get in touch with him and have somebody contact you.
All right, cool. Yeah. And then if there's a potential for the African American Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with both and see what time slot is available, and we can go from there.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. This is Juan Luis. Thank you both. And so if there are no additional comments on this agenda item, we should be good to move on to next steps in the agenda. So I guess I will pass it on to Stephanie now.
Thanks, Juan Luis. And this is Stephanie. I actually, in closing the loop on kind of as we talk about these in-person outreach events, I did just want to offer that we do have on our website an outreach resource page that kind of does have all the resources if you are going to in-person events, things that you can, share with the community. We do have a general AB 617 flyer that explains potential grant opportunities that allows folks to sign up and be notified when the grants open. It also has kind of another component to this, of course, is like air quality education. So that flyer does talk about accessing our community air monitoring network information. And then there's also, of course, our Burn Cleaner flyer for accessing that grant program that is open now. And then if there's any community groups that want to do kind of work in this field, so potentially doing outreach on air quality education, spreading news about our AB 617 program, we do have the mini grant available, which we've heard SB talk a lot about with her group and what they're doing. So I did want to share that. I can drop a link into the chat for this, for the outreach resources. But as y'all are going to events, just a reminder of where these resources are and what you can be bringing to inform people. And with that, I'll move on to kind of, there's a lot of items, it's a mishmash of a lot of things that we wanted to kind of bring to this subcommittee. And the first item actually is related to outreach with other subcommittees. And we did want to share, I know that not everyone has a chance to go to all of our subcommittees. We have a lot of them, and we know folks are busy. And just for our district staff that does attend a lot of them, we did want to share with this group that across a couple of different subcommittees, we have heard potentially requests for this outreach subcommittee to kind of assist with different measures that are going on in other subcommittees. And for example, in our indoor air and weatherization subcommittee, we're working on putting together a AB 617 specific residential air filtration program. And I think, as a lot of you know, we have a district-wide program that's open. It's a pilot program that's open, but down the road, we do really want to do an AB 617 Stockton specific program. And so once that's launched, and as we're getting ready for this program, I know that subcommittee, the indoor air subcommittee, has mentioned that they want to work with this outreach subcommittee to make sure that when the program's open, folks in the community are aware. Also, potentially the EV mechanic training subcommittee. I know Ed is a really big part of that subcommittee. Down the road, one of the things that we are exploring is potentially how can there is this course that folks can take through Valley Can at Delta College, and potentially how can we be doing outreach to folks in the boundary about this course that's going on. And so those are two examples, but I just wanted to put it out there that there's been requests for support of this subcommittee. And so as we continue getting these requests, we'll definitely work with this outreach subcommittee to kind of merge and be able to support the work that's going on across all our measures. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Just a comment. Thank you for bringing forward the EV mechanic. It still is near and dear to many people's heart, including Leonard early on talking about it, and I'm meeting one or two, I don't remember, but it would be nice to have the opportunity to present to them, as Jonathan spoke, to present some of the opportunities that EV Mechanic may have for our community.
Yeah, we totally agree. Thanks, Ed. And I believe the next, oh, go ahead, Jonathan.
I was actually going to ask Maria, do you know when the next Boggs Track Community Center meetings happen?
Maria Mendez, because I'm actually the chair for the advisory board, and it's quarterly. Our next advisory board meeting will be in October. The other thing that I would like to share, we do have the back to school night, which will be next Thursday at 5 o'clock at Washington School. It'll be 5 to 6:30.
Oh, okay, cool. Am I able to talk with Caitlin about that? Catherine, I mean?
Maria Mendez, Catherine, because I know that they were gonna do the Title I. She already has like a schedule, but then we can actually talk with you guys can talk with the parents like on the way out, because I know that they have 2 sections, because if they have more than 1 child, so they actually, so from 5:30 to 6, they go to the first group with the class, and then they switch just in case they have the same parents have another visit the other classroom. It'll be from 6 to 6:30, but we can actually start speaking with them on the way out, like the ones who are leaving afterwards, so which will be perfect.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Let me reach out to Catherine about it. SB, do you want to join forces on that?
Yeah. So then did you want to, if you're going to reach out, then yeah, just CC, this is SB, just CC me, and then I can definitely help out with that. We can bring like what we have also, just if we have, quite a bit in terms of the COVID test kits and, other items that we have that we do for our COVID outreach. So, I mean, that might help also, that we can bring that to give out, but definitely include me and I can help out.
This is Jonathan. Maria, just to clarification, so it's 6 p.m. next week, Friday or Thursday.
Yeah, Maria Mendez, yes, Thursday, 5 o'clock.
Okay, 5. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks all for. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Sorry, just one last thing. My mind's going. Maria, for utilizing Peach Jar, is that something that the Stock Unified still utilizes, and how do we get on that? Do we have to talk to Melissa Mendez?
Maria Mendez, Melinda Mesa, but you guys can upload the materials up to Peach Jar, and then they are the ones that will approve it. I have to if you can send it to me as well, so just in case you have problems with it, then we can actually give to everybody, like say the following in the instructions on how to do it. But if you guys would like me to assist with that, I can actually just forward it to her, and I'll CC Dr. Miller on it as well. So then we can actually blast it out through the Peach Jar.
Cool. I think we could go that route.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Awesome. And with that, maybe I'll go ahead. This is Stephanie. I'll go ahead and move on to potentially some updates about the Clean Air Room program. And just by way of background, maybe for folks that weren't at our last meeting, we did announce that the district has opened, it's a district-wide program, not necessarily AB 617 at this time, a program to provide residential air filtration units free to residents in Valley disadvantaged communities. And so I know folks even on this call have taken advantage and applied to the program, but we did want to share updates that generally kind of program wide, we are about 70% at full with this program. And And there are some counties that are fully maxed out and closed. I will say though, in San Joaquin and even in Stanislaus, there's still availability for units. So if folks know anyone that would be interested, please feel free to spread the news. Juan Luis dropped in the link. And just kind of latest numbers for San Joaquin County, it's looking like it's a little over 40%. And so definitely for folks that know people who would want a residential air filtration unit, definitely follow that link, share the information. And there's a link that would allow you to check, there's a map that you can check whether or not you're eligible for this program. And like Juan Luis says, we can also email a copy of the flyer, or for folks, we can mail them too. I know we've done that for a couple people in the group that we've mailed hard copy flyers. You have something to add, Heather?
I was just going to note that I think it says on the flyer too, but in case it wasn't clear, we do have two really big programs around this concept. One that supports major buildings. We've talked about that before. A library can get a full-size unit, a school, somebody could get a big old unit to do like 1,000 up to 3,000 square feet. This program, it's about 200 square feet. So if you're telling people about it, it's not going to do their whole house. Ideally, we encourage people to find the room that they spend the most time in, and work to purify that room. So just a couple little more details, but to Steph's point, still have opportunity for this pilot program in your area. We would love for your neighbors and folks to get one. It's about $150 value, and they'll give you your first replacement filter as well. So hope to get you through a year's time.
Go ahead, Maria.
Maria here. I want to share that the Board of Education for Stockton Unified School District's board meeting will be on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. You guys are welcome, SB and Jonathan, to bring some flyers because there will be community members, youth, and also staff from the district there at the same time.
This is SB. I have some of the flyers. I can go ahead and do that. And thank you again for the invitation. So Jonathan, like I said, I have some of the flyers for this particular program that we could bring. And I think we still have some for the AB 617 as well.
This is Heather. Perfect, SB. And Maria, thank you so much for that opportunity. That is really awesome.
You're welcome. So we are in their new location, which is 56 North Lincoln Street, is right across from the DMV.
Perfect. Thanks, Maria. Does anyone have any follow-up questions on the clean air room? And then like Heather mentioned, also our clean air center program.
This is SB on the link that we just received. Is that for the individual households only, or is it for both?
We have two different portals. The clean air, the one that I see in the link should be the clean air room. So that's going to be for like the single units for your room, the room in your home. I'm wondering if Heather, Juan Luis, you can drop in the clean air center.
This Heather, I will drop it in right now. The difference, that the only way that we keep it straight and we tell folks to keep it straight is the word room, clean air room, individuals, residents, and the word center, big, massive, expansive, clean air room program, clean air center program. And yes, the one he dropped in to chat was the residential, the individual people.
And this is Juan Luis. I just provided the link to the Cleaner Centers program.
Thank you, Juan Luis.
Absolutely.
Any other questions about either of these programs? All right, with that, I'll go ahead and move on to the next item on our agenda here. And that was actually just a quick update, nothing too big on this one, residential lawn and garden outreach. At the time, I think we were potentially thinking about doing, there could be potential to do an in-person event, but I think kind of brainstorming with our team and with SB, it probably does at this point make sense with so few units that we don't necessarily think that an in-person event would be necessary to kind of get the 50 units that are in our SERP right now. So I think maybe we could potentially look down the road to pair it with another SERP measure that if it, for any future one that opens up. But hopefully soon we'll hear about residential lawn and garden. It is with CARB right now. And so once we hear news, the project plan, sorry, just for some context, we're right now the stage of residential lawn and garden is that the project plan is with CARB for review. And once we hear back about that program, we'll definitely share that information with the CSC. Any questions about that item, or Heather, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I don't, you did a perfect job. Thank you, Steph.
Thanks. Yeah, and just for some context, we have done in-person events in Shafter and Fresno, which were very exciting, but we actually got rid of like 100 units in just a few hours in the morning. So that's kind of what's I think driving some of this this thought that 50 units probably will go quickly in the community, especially with the help of like all of our CSC spreading the news.
Well, now that you say it that way, yes, I have a comment. I would love to have more, but that's up to the committee, of course. But I do agree with you that there wouldn't be a need for an event with just the 50 units. I think we would unfortunately disappoint folks. And that once we really did some intentional outreach, I do think there will be a swell of interest. So, and SB can speak to that too. She's been talking to community members.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute. So in terms of for the residential lawn and garden outreach, for the in-person events that we've been having, again, there are some of the events that we've already been at, and so we coupled everything up, and so it's been very successful in terms of the engagement. But I think it's going to really help us once we're able to hone in on getting this like tool set up so that we can then get information properly, both ways to the resident and then also for us to receive the information. So we, we're definitely like set in that component, and any additional feedback once we have that in place, I think we can bring that to the outreach committee and see if there's something we may be missing.
Thanks, SB. And that's really all I had for those items, kind of for next steps, things for this group to kind of ponder on, and things that are upcoming, I think, in the next couple of months. With that, we're making great time with this agenda. I just wanted to open it up to this whole group and see if anyone had any questions, any comments, anything that they wanted to bring to this subcommittee. Go for it, Jonathan.
Just one quick question. I believe I remember reading for the mini grant that it doesn't have to just be a CBO. It could be other people. So what's the classification on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm just pulling up the guidelines now. I know it, so generally, this is Stephanie. So for the folks that are not aware, maybe haven't heard of this program, we do have this mini grant program open. It's about $2,000 to do outreach in the community, talk about air quality education, to talk about our AB 617 programs. In the guidelines, give me one second. It is, generally open, but I will just say kind of groups that can apply: schools, universities, school groups, community groups, service clubs, youth organizations, churches, and other not-for-profit organizations that are located within the boundaries of the Valley Air District. And I can pop in the guidelines for the mini grant application, and it's just the first line under the eligibility section.
This is Juan Luis. I just provided the link to the guidelines step via chat box, so you guys should be able to access that.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? I'm not seeing any, so I think maybe I'll pass it back to Juan Luis and SB for any closing remarks for this meeting.
Thank you, SB. Steph, this is Juan Luis again. I think we're good. I mean, it's 2:51. We have 9 minutes, but I don't have any closing remarks other than say thank you for joining us today. And then obviously, if anybody has any additional questions or suggestions, more than welcome to hear those. But other than that, I will pass it back to SB.
This is SB, and again, thank you everyone for taking the time today to join us and for all of your input and questions. And I hope that we're able to move forward and, create a comprehensive approach so that we can better inform our residents about all of the incentive programs that are forthcoming with AB 617. And then I'm glad that we're able to end on time so that you all can have a couple more minutes for your Friday afternoon. And we'll continue to get input and information on our events as we move forward as well. So again, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. And we're going to work with the co-leads to schedule our next meeting, and we'll share that information out once that's scheduled.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy
Have a good
Friday,
weekend.
team.